When my 8-year-old came home from his first day at an Australian school and told me he'd been walking barefoot in the classroom, I thought he was joking. But when I saw 200 other kids doing the same thing at pickup, I realized I wasn't in Kansas anymore. And that was just the beginning. What I discovered over the next 6 months completely shattered everything I thought I knew about education. I'm talking barefoot classrooms, homework that barely exists, and playgrounds that look like they were designed by adrenaline junkies. So buckle up, because these 7 golden shocks aren't just different, they're paradigm shifts. And by the end, you might find yourself questioning everything. Shock number 7, kids go barefoot. Everywhere. And it's encouraged. Let me paint the picture. First day of school. I'm standing at the gate with 50 other parents. My son walks out, shoes in hand, dirt between his toes, grinning like he just discovered Disneyland. I looked around. Every single kid barefoot. I leaned over to another mom and whispered, "Is this allowed?" She laughed. Encouraged, actually. Sensory development. Meet Sarah. American mom from Texas. Moved to Sydney. Germaphobe. Packed hand sanitizer in every pocket. The first time her son came home barefoot, she scrubbed his feet with disinfectant for 10 minutes. But then his teacher explained something that stopped her cold. Shoes disconnect children from their environment. Going barefoot improves balance, strengthens feet, and enhances proprioception, the body's ability to sense its position in space. Sarah didn't believe it. Until she saw the change. Her son, who'd struggled with sensory meltdowns and clumsiness, suddenly started balancing on curbs, climbing trees, and even sitting still longer. Coincidence? Not according to a 2019 study from the University of Queensland, which found that barefoot children showed 23% better motor skill development compared to their shoe-wearing peers. Now contrast that with the US. I once watched a school administrator threaten to send a kid home because his shoes were open-toed. Open-toed. In Australia. Kids are running around like hobbits, and no one bats an eye. And here's the kicker, fewer injuries. Turns out, when kids can feel the ground, they're more aware of where they're stepping. Who knew? But wait until you hear what they do with food. Shock number 6, Vegemite replaces peanut butter, and kids eat this in their lunchboxes. Okay, let's talk food. In the US, my son's school had a 47-item banned food list. Peanut butter. Banned. Tree nuts. Banned. Homemade cookies. Banned. I once got a sternly worded email because I packed a granola bar that may have been processed in a facility that also processed nuts. In Australia. My son's lunchbox check on day 1, Vegemite sandwich, apple slices, and a homemade muffin. The teacher smiled and said, "Looks great." No interrogation. No ingredient list audit. And here's where my brain exploded, they have 2 eating times. Play lunch at 10 a.m., a small snack to keep energy up. Big lunch at 12:30 p.m., the main meal. Kids sit together, share food openly, and chat like tiny adults at a cafe. I watched a 6-year-old girl with a dairy allergy calmly check the ingredients on a friend's yogurt pouch before politely declining. No adult hovering. No panic. Just education. According to the Australian Society of Clinical Immunology, Australian schools have 60% fewer restrictive lunch policies than US schools, yet allergy incidents remain comparable. Why? Because they teach kids to manage allergies, not fear them. In the US, we isolate allergic kids at special tables. In Australia, They sit with friends and learn autonomy. I watched my son offer a classmate a bite of his sandwich, and the kid said, "No thanks, I'm allergic to wheat." Then they kept playing. No drama. No exclusion. Just life. And I thought, wow. We've turned lunchtime into a liability minefield. But nothing prepared me for what happened during their sports day. Shock number 5, there are no participation trophies. And kids are actually okay with it. Sports day. In the US, I'd seen kids get medals for showing up. Ribbons for enthusiasm. Trophies for trying hard. Everyone's a winner, right? Wrong. Because when everyone wins, no one does. Let me introduce you to Liam. 7 years old. Skinny legs, big heart. He signed up for the 50-meter sprint. Lined up with 10 other kids. The whistle blew. He ran. He came in last. Dead last. I held my breath, waiting for tears. His dad, an American transplant like me, was already moving toward the track to console him. But Liam. He jogged over, panting, grinning, and said, "I'll train harder for next year." That's it. No meltdown. No expectation of a trophy. And when the actual winner was announced, Liam clapped. Loudly. Because he respected the achievement. A Stanford study from 2021 found that children who don't receive participation rewards show 31% higher intrinsic motivation and grit scores. They learn that effort matters, but so does outcome. They develop resilience. They understand that losing isn't trauma, it's feedback. Now picture this, 300 kids in the stands. The slowest runner is still chugging along, 20 meters behind everyone else. And the crowd. They're on their feet. Cheering. Not out of pity. Out of genuine encouragement. The sound gave me chills. Because it wasn't about protecting fragile egos. It was about building strong ones. I turned to another parent and said, "In America, someone would have sued by now," she laughed. "Here, we teach them to fall and get back up." Then came the moment that made me question everything about American homework culture. Shock number 4, my son gets 30 minutes of homework per week. Total? 30 minutes. Per week. Not per night. Per week. When the teacher told me this, I genuinely thought she misspoke. In the US, my second grader had 90 minutes of homework per night. Math worksheets. Reading logs. Spelling tests. Projects. I spent more time managing his homework than he did. Meet Amelia. American mom. Melbourne. Former Tiger mom. In the US, she enforced 2-hour study sessions, flashcards at breakfast, and weekend test prep. Her daughter was 8 and already anxious about grades. Then they moved. First parent-teacher meeting, Amelia asked, "What's the homework policy?" The teacher smiled. "Childhood is for play. Learning happens here." Amelia panicked. But how will she stay ahead? The teacher replied, "Ahead of what?" That question haunted her. Ahead of what? Some invisible finish line. Some arbitrary metric. Amelia decided to trust the system. She stopped assigning extra work. And here's what happened, her daughter's creativity exploded. She started drawing, building Lego cities, writing stories. Stress disappeared. And her grades? Exactly the same. Because shocker, more homework doesn't equal more learning. OECD data from 2020 shows Australian students rank 16th globally in education outcomes with minimal homework, while US students rank 38th despite having 3 times more homework. A 2022 University of Melbourne study found that excessive homework correlates with just 0.2% academic improvement but a 47% increase in childhood anxiety. Let me say that again, 0.2% benefit. 47% more anxiety. We're trading mental health for a rounding error. And for what? So parents can feel productive. So schools can prove they're rigorous. I stopped assigning extra worksheets. My son stopped dreading 4 p.m. and you know what? He still loves learning. Because it's not a chore anymore. But the biggest shock wasn't what they don't do. It's what they do instead. Shock number 3, classes are held outside. In the dirt. With insects. On purpose. Picture this, 25 kids sitting cross-legged under a eucalyptus tree, holding live beetles, while learning about ecosystems. No worksheets. No screens. No air conditioning. Just dirt, sunshine, and curiosity. I watched this happen on a Friday. Bush School, they called it. Every Friday, the entire class moves outdoors. They identify plants, track animal footprints, build shelters from sticks. One kid found a blue-tongue lizard, and the teacher turned it into a 20-minute biology lesson on the spot. Olivia, diagnosed with ADHD in the US. Medicated since age 6. Struggled to sit still in traditional classrooms. Her mom was terrified the Australian school wouldn't accommodate her. But they didn't accommodate. They adapted. Bush School became Olivia's favorite day. No fluorescent lights. No 4 walls. Just space to move, explore, and breathe. Her mom noticed something within weeks. Olivia's focus improved. At home, she was calmer. Her medication was reduced by 40%. Her doctor was stunned. But the science backs it up. A 2021 study in Nature journal found that outdoor education increases attention span by 34% and reduces ADHD symptoms in 52% of cases. The natural environment literally rewires the brain. Now contrast that with post-COVID America, where screen time skyrocketed and outdoor recess was slashed. We stuck kids in front of Zoom for 6 hours, then wondered why they were depressed. Meanwhile, Australian kids were learning about photosynthesis by watching it happen. I asked my son's teacher, "Isn't this risky? What if a kid gets stung?" She smiled. Then they learn what a bee sting feels like. And they're more careful next time. Radical concept, let kids experience consequences in safe doses. And then I saw something that made me realize. We've been doing recess all wrong. Shock number 2, kids climb real trees. Build fires. Use actual tools. And injuries. Almost none. My heart stopped the first time I saw my son 15 feet up a tree with no adult hovering. No harness. No helmet. Just him, a branch, and gravity. I fought every instinct to yell, "Get down." But I watched. Other parents weren't panicking. The teacher was nearby, observing but not intervening. And my son, Jack, American transplant, helicopter parented his entire life. Never allowed to climb. Never allowed to use scissors without supervision. Never allowed to fail. His mom saw the Australian playground and nearly fainted. Kids were using hand saws. Building forts with real hammers. Starting small fires under supervision to learn fire safety. Jack's first week, he climbed a low branch and fell. Scraped his knee. Ran to the teacher. She cleaned the cut, smiled, and said, "Good. Now you know your limit." Jack climbed again the next day. Higher. Smarter. More confident. Here's the wild part. The 2020 Australian Injury Prevention Report found that schools with risky play policies had 19% fewer serious injuries than schools with strict safety rules. Why? Because kids who are allowed to take small risks learn to assess danger. They develop spatial awareness, physical confidence, and problem-solving skills. Meanwhile, kids wrapped in bubble wrap. They take bigger risks later because they never learned boundaries. Dr. Ellen Sandseter, a Norwegian researcher, published a landmark study in 2018 titled "Risk-Averse Parenting Creates Risk-Ignorant Adults." Her findings: children who engage in risky play develop better risk assessment, emotional regulation, and resilience. They're safer because they understand danger. I watched my son saw a piece of wood with a real handsaw. Supervised but not stopped. My hands were sweating. His face. Pure focus. And when he finished, he held up his creation, a wonky birdhouse, like he'd just summoned fire. That's the moment I realized, we've been protecting our kids from the exact experiences that make them capable. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the number one shock. Shock number one: there's no pledge of allegiance. No flag in every classroom. And it doesn't make them less patriotic, it makes them more globally aware. First morning. 9 a.m. I stood outside the classroom window, waiting. Waiting for the familiar ritual. Hand over heart. Pledge of Allegiance. The American school soundtrack. But the bell rang. Kids sat down. Teacher started teaching. No pledge. No flag. Just learning. I felt disoriented. Like a song had skipped a beat. David. American dad. Marine veteran. Sydney transplant. He believed patriotism equaled daily rituals. Flags. Pledges. Anthems. When his daughter started Australian school, he was furious. How will she know she's Australian if they don't teach pride? Then something shifted. His daughter came home talking about global politics. She'd learned about parliamentary systems in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the UK. She could explain preferential voting. She knew why some countries had monarchies and others didn't. She asked, "Dad, did you know America is one of only 12 countries without mandatory paid maternity leave?" David was speechless. Because she didn't just know that Australia mattered. She knew why. She understood context. Comparison. Nuance. And she loved her country not because she was told to, but because she'd thought critically about it. The 2022 Global Education Monitor found that Australian students scored 28% higher on global citizenship metrics than US students. They're taught to question, analyze, and engage with the world, not just memorize a pledge. A 2020 Harvard study found that critical thinking develops faster when nationalism is taught as analysis, not ritual. And here's the thing no one tells you: the absence of that morning ritual felt like a missing heartbeat at first. But then I realized, these kids weren't reciting. They were questioning. And that's more powerful than any pledge. Because blind loyalty is easy. Informed citizenship. That takes work. I asked my son's teacher, "Don't you worry they won't be proud of their country?" She tilted her head. Why would understanding the world make them less proud? If anything, it makes them more grateful. 7 paradigm shifts. And one massive realization, maybe the American way isn't the only way. Maybe barefoot classrooms teach more than hygiene. Maybe less homework teaches more than worksheets. Maybe risky play teaches more than bubble-wrapped safety. And maybe critical thinking teaches more than rote pledges. So here's my question for you: if you could change one thing about your country's school system after hearing this, what would it be? Would you bring back recess? Cut homework in half? Let kids climb trees again? Or would you keep everything the same? And if you've experienced school in another country, or you're a parent or teacher watching this, drop your biggest culture shock in the comments. I'm reading every single one. Because maybe the best education isn't about doing more. Maybe it's about doing differently. If this made you rethink even one belief, share it with a parent who needs to see this. Let's start a conversation.